Orpheus and Eurydice by Anne Terry White from World's Great Classics. Warning: partial nudity depicted through classical art. In the kingdom of Thrace there lived a poet and sweet singer, Orpheus by name. His father, who was Apollo, had given him a lyre and taught him to play it. So it is no wonder that the young man's music charmed everyone. So enchanting was it indeed that when Orpheus plucked the strings, wild beasts gathered round him and grew tame. He drew the very trees after him. The rocks on the hillsides moved to his music, and the rivers changed their courses that they might hear him. Now many maidens loved Orpheus, yet he loved one alone, Eurydice, and one day they were married. But while the young bride wandered with her bridesmaids in a meadow, a serpent bit her ankle, and she fell lifeless to the ground. Who can describe the grief of Orpheus then? Day and night he wept for his lost wife, but tears brought no ease to his spirit. His heart grew heavier instead of lighter, and at last he determined to do what no other mortal man had dared to do for his love before. He would descend to the underworld and beg Pluto for his Eurydice. Now Orpheus knew where a deep cavern led far into the earth, and by means of it he got down to the river Styx. "Take me across," Orpheus said to Pluto's ferrymen. "No," Charon answered, "my bark is made for the shades of the dead. You are too heavy. I dare not take ye." But when Orpheus struck his lyre, the ferryman yielded. Cerberus, even, the three-headed dog who guarded the entrance to Pluto's realm, would not let him by, but he yielded too when Orpheus played his lyre. So the poet entertained the realm of the dead, passed among the shades, and came to the throne of Pluto and Persephone. He bowed low before the king and queen, and then he plucked the strings of his lyre, and accompanying his words with tenderest music, began to sing, "O lords of the underworld, I do not come here to spy out the secrets of your realm. I come to seek my wife, cut off in her bloom when she trod on a serpent, and it poured its poison in her veins. I have tried to endure my grief, but I cannot. Love is too much for me. Love led me here, love, a god well known to us who dwell on earth. And here, too, he is familiar if the story of yourselves is true. For you too, O king and queen, were brought together by love. I implore you, by these haunts of terror, by these realms of silence, make whole again the thread of Eurydice's life. All of us mortals must descend to you at last, for this is our final home, and yours is the most lasting sway over mankind. My wife, like all the rest, will come within your power in time. But until then, I implore you, grant her to me. If you refuse, keep me here too. I do not wish to return alone, triumph in my death as well as hers." He sang, and as the sweet music and moving words swept through the dismal halls, the bloodless shades shed tears. The very instruments of punishment ceased from inflicting pain, and all the doomed rested from their weary tasks. Then, for the first time, the cheeks of the pitiless Furies were wet with tears. Wet, too, were the eyes of Persephone, and even Pluto softened, as on that day when Eros shot the arrow into his heart. Iron tears rolled down his cheeks. "Yet Eurydice be called," he said. "Eurydice, Eurydice," sounded through the silent halls of death, and out of the depths where all the newly arrived shades flocked together, pale Eurydice came, walking slowly because of her injured foot. She stood sadly before the throne, not knowing why she was being summoned. And then she saw Orpheus, and her shadowy face lit up with such joy as those regions had never beheld.
"Take her," Pluto said, "but remember, do not look back until you have reached the upper air, for if you do, Eurydice will die again."
Through gloom and heavy silence, Orpheus passed up the steep, dark, narrow, sloping path, and Eurydice came limping behind. Joy filled the poet's heart. His daring had succeeded. His music had made the grim god grant what love demanded, if only Eurydice's strength would not fail her till they reached the surface. Near the top, it suddenly seemed to Orpheus that he could no longer hear Eurydice's step behind him. Seized with panic, he turned to see if she was there. And at once Eurydice slipped back into the depths. "Come to me, my love, come back," Orpheus cried, stretching out his arms.
"Do not die a second time and leave me desolate."
But no answer came from the gloom. For a long time Orpheus stood staring into nothingness. Then, turning, he went his heavy upward way. Thank you.